Hey cats, welcome back. We are at WAI 2025. I'm Carrie Arnold, Cat 1. We've got Michaela here, Cat 2. And we've got the legend in the house, Cromer Smith. And I'm so excited to learn about you because you seem like you know everybody. So let's just dive right in.
Go right in. First of all, I love your name. Never seen the name Cromer.
My mother got a hold of some bad moonshine back in the 60s. Had a vision.
I love it.
Is that
it's
a family
very
name?
unique.
It is.
Okay.
It originally came from a Polish viscount in the 1600s, and he was a wayward kid.
Okay.
The DNA continues, and his
Created
dad
this legend.
his dad threw him out of the house, gave him 2 servants, 2 horses, a buggy, and his inheritance, and said, "Leave Poland, and they'll never come back. You're an embarrassment."
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And now we're to him.
And he didn't leave me anything. I checked.
A lot of times we do lose our the money, you know what I mean? It gets
Oh, yeah.
squandered along the way. All
Taxes.
these generations. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you have connections to a lot of people here at ABEX and, you know, obviously in the airline industry, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up working on a dairy farm and joined the Navy as an enlisted man.
Thank you.
And I was an aviation electrician. I later re-enlisted to be a P3 flight engineer. And then after 6 years, I had breezed through 4 years of college, got a commission, and started flying in the Navy.
Okay.
I'd hurt my back. And the Navy medical said I'd never fly again. And that was 23,000 flight hours ago.
Wow.
So it was kind of like hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah, exactly.
But I had a real blessed career. I ended up with ASA when they were still pretty young, Atlantic Southeast Airlines out
Yep.
of Atlanta, Georgia.
That's where
And
you were based, or that's where you lived?
I was first based in Dallas
Okay.
and did that for a year on the EMB 110, the Bondurani,
Okay.
the Bandit.
Okay.
And had no pressurization, no autopilot, no cockpit door. So that was some exciting times.
That sounds fun.
And then I graduated to the big airplanes, the EMB 120, a year later, and they stationed me in Atlanta. Doing that, upgraded to captain. Then I flew the ATR and then all 3 versions of the CRJ.
Okay.
I did quite a bit of time in management with ASA. I was the Atlanta-based chief pilot twice and the director of Atlanta operations. So I had the gate, catering, cleaning, everything on the ground side. And they thought I'd be good at that because I got along with people and they really wanted it to gel between pilots and ground people. There were some issues there. So we got that fixed. And then I was going to go back to the line, but our system chief pilot was unfortunately killed in a plane crash. And so I became the system chief pilot for about a year. And it was the base chief pilot and system chief pilot capacity that I met Chris Mankemeyer
Okay.
with AVEX. And he was heavily involved at the union.
Right.
And he was young, had some maturing to do. But I got to tell you, I'm real proud of him. He's turned into quite the leader himself.
Yeah.
And one of the things I tried to do in those positions was convince people that it did not have to be adversary. That if you take somebody, anybody can sit across the table and be a keyboard warrior,
Right.
right? Or be nasty to somebody's face because you picture them as an adversary. What I always tried to instill, and I think Chris did an excellent job of adopting my philosophy, is that person across from you has a mom, a dad, husband, wife, children. They fall down and scrape their knee, they bleed red. They're human.
Right.
And they have good days and bad days. just like you. And if you start looking at that person across the table like that, they're now a human. They're not an adversary, and it makes it harder to be a jerk because you're dealing with another human being.
You've humanized
right.
them. Yeah.
And if they're down, bring them up. Now, Chris will be the first to tell you we disagreed on a lot of things, but we fixed more problems than not.
Right.
Just because we could sit down, just me and him, to solve issues. And I've tried to keep that kind of going. I ended up being the MEC. Am I talking too much?
No, I love
Am I
it.
being the MEC? I went back to the line in 05. My wife and I just adopted a little girl who's the love of my life. She and my wife. And I wanted to be a daddy. That was the best title I could ever have.
Absolutely.
So I went back and I flew the line for about 10 years. And then we had an MEC chairman that had gone off the rails, and they wanted somebody to fix it. The union guys did. So they called me and asked me if I would be the MEC chairman. And that to me was such an honor that, you know, most guys go from union management and then segue into company management, get all the bonuses and pay raises and stuff. Not me. I had to do it just backwards. So to take a former chief pilot and have the support of the pilots, and especially people like Chris, to be the head guy on the MEC was quite an honor.
So your experience and your expertise from, like, you've flown the line, you know what the day in, day out struggles of a pilot is, and then you have been in management. With your personality, I feel like it's coming through that, you know, you're really like,
Personable.
you can really work with people and understanding where they're coming from.
Well, I've always said people are not a science, they're an art. And you got to treat people like an art. You can't put God or people in the three-ring binder. There's just too many variables going on
Right.
from birth to the grave, right? And I like that art.
So how's that going to translate to Kalitta with being a recruiter now?
Well, I guess selfishly, it's helping me get over my depression of not being able to fly anymore.
Yeah.
Thank you, U.S. government.
Yeah.
Put a plug in for the FAA.
Yeah.
So they asked me to be part of this and help develop it. Been working with our chief pilot, Anne Marie. I think y'all will meet her in a little bit. Great lady, good leader. And I think, how does it translate? I think I'm fairly good at judging character. And I love Kalitta Airline. It was the most fun I had my whole life of flying. The crews are great. We worked for a renegade named Connie Kalitta.
Yeah.
He loves
Heard of him?
to do two things, and both of them are fast: fly and drag race.
Yeah.
And he's just this crazy guy that can look at something and it turns to gold. And that kind of trickles down to the rank and file, whether it's ground employees or pilots, whatever. So
So you got a lot of gold?
it's a different, yeah, not really. Connie's got the gold. It's just the coolest group of people to work with.
Yeah.
I like to say this, it's the only airline I've ever seen where, you know, Anchorage is one of our big thoroughfares going back and forth to the Pacific. And we'll have pilots that don't have to fly until midnight, that'll get up at 5 in the morning just to have breakfast with their buddies and catch up before they head out.
Yeah.
You
It's like a
can't beat
family.
it. Is
Right.
sometimes dysfunctional, but
Yeah,
still a
sure.
family.
You can have
And
that anywhere.
yeah, I couldn't have been more blessed.
That's
to-
wonderful.
And I think that translates into attracting pilots when they can hear some old man like me talk about what they all picture aviation as when they first have the dream.
Sure.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
And
Sounds as it should be.
yeah,
And you're
As it
perfect
should
for them. You're
That's-
perfect for them.
well,
It's-
thank
it's- your passion for it really does come out. Not
Does it?
just with flying, but just as a human.
well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I owe you money?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
So that.
Anyways, on that note,
So, Cats, on that note, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
I hope
My
to have
pleasure.
you back on us.
Well, let me
We
know.
didn't make you too nervous, did we?
A little bit, but I
yeah.
white knuckled my
Yeah.
way through it.
Remember, Cats, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And remember to,
Smash that like button.
yeah, we'll see you next time.
See ya.